The Committee on Parole is reconvening. Time is 12:24 p.m. Our next remote location is Concordia Correctional Center. With the staff at Concordia, please introduce yourself. You're muted.
You there?
Yes.
Okay, Stephanie Hodges, LPN.
Okay, Ms. Hodges, how are you?
I'm great, how are y'all?
Would the offender please introduce yourself and give your Department of Corrections ID?
Tell them your name and your ID, your DOC.
Velma L Rison and my MA ID.
Your DOC number.
And my DOC number is 770111.
Thank you, Ms. Rison. You said Rison?
Rison.
Yeah, okay. Ms. Rison, my name is Alvin Roche. To my left is Ms. Bonnie Jackson, and to my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. We'll compose your parole panel this afternoon. Okay?
Yes, sir. She's hearing impaired, sir.
Okay. Okay. So you're going to relay. Okay. Good. Let me explain the process to you. I will read some information into the record. Then we will conduct a parole interview with you. Before we vote, we'll give you a chance to make a statement on your behalf. Would you explain that to us, please?
They're going to read some for the record, and then they're going to give you a chance to speak on your behalf once they get done. It is.
Ms. Rison, you are a first felony offender.
First felony.
Your offenses are count 1, distribution of meth. Count 2, attempted distribution of meth. You were sentenced on August 2nd, 2022. The first count, you received 5 years and 6 months. The second count, you were sentenced to 2 years and 9 months. Those sentences are running concurrently, so your total sentence is 5 years and 6 months. Your parole date is September 16th, 2023. Your adjusted good time date is January 19th, 2024, and your full term date is November 1st, 2027. Is this information correct?
It is.
Your case has been assigned to Ms. Jackson. Would you please answer Ms. Jackson's questions?
All right, Ms. Rison, can you hear at all?
She can. It's very difficult. She's got a hearing aid in her left ear, and her right ear, she has no eardrum at all. And I've got y'all turned all the way up. Just try to go with your left ear up there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. How old are you?
I'm 38.
And have you worked? Have you had a job in the past?
In work release, I'm working at Popeyes right now.
You're on work release right now?
Yes, ma'am. I work at Popeyes in Vidalia.
Okay. Before you came to jail, did you have a job?
No, ma'am, I was on SSI.
because of your hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
How many children do you have?
I have 4.
How old are your children?
I have a daughter. She will be 15 June 13th, and my son will be 13 May 29th, and my twin will be 9 June 21st.
Who's taking care of your children while you're in prison?
My mother.
So tell us, how did you get involved with selling meth?
Okay, see what happened is I had a food stamp card and my friend came over and he said he used too much money on it, so he's gonna go to ATM, get me some money. And then when he came back, well, he asked me to hold something for him. And I didn't know what it was. And when he came to the house to get it, he asked, can I get my stuff? And he handed me the money, and then they got me on video.
Well, Miss Rison,
Yes, ma'am.
they have you selling meth on, I think, 3 occasions. Somebody came to your house,
Yes, ma'am.
purchased meth for you. They had money that the police had given them, and so you were selling meth. Now, don't tell me something is not true. That doesn't help me. Doesn't help you, okay?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
why were you selling meth?
Why were you selling meth?
I I don't know.
Were you support your kids? Why were you trying to support your kids by selling meth?
Were you trying to support your kids?
Yes, ma'am. But I know that's not an option. I know I could get a job. That's why I got a job now.
So how long have you been in work release?
Since November.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
And how long have you been in jail on this charge? How long have you been in jail?
10 months.
Okay, so you haven't been there very long.
What?
You haven't been here very long, she said.
Um,
Well, how are you doing on the job?
What'd she say?
How are you doing on the job?
I'm doing very good. I was hoping I could get out and I go to my town, Popeyes.
Have you taken any kind of classes while you've been in jail?
Have you taken classes?
Yes, ma'am. Parenting class. And right now I'm in a 2nd class, Cage Your Age. And that class will end May 24th.
Well, what about drug programs? Have you taken any kind of drug-related classes?
Any drug-related classes?
No, ma'am.
You know, you have a release date right now of January the 19th of next year.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you complete more programs, that's gonna move up sooner. Do you understand that?
If you complete more programs, it'll move up sooner,
Oh, like what program?
like more classes.
Okay. So I won't be able to get like parole out early because my hearing, I have ear infection that caused me to lose my hearing. And I might have to have surgery to put in my ear or whatever. I've been having problems with my ear since I was 5.
And when you get out, hopefully you can get that taken care of. Can I have the correctional officer give, you have any information you can add?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. That's all, Mr.
I'd like to review, you say that which programs have you completed?
She's done the parenting class and the Cajun Rage for anger management.
And she finished with anger management?
She's still in it. It finishes at the end of this month.
Yes.
And there was one other class she was in.
A parenting class.
Okay, so is there any substance abuse education classes at Concordia?
Do we? I don't know for sure. I'll have to.
Living balance, but that'll be in July.
Okay. There is one. It starts sporadically, so I don't think it starts until July.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of my ears.
Ms. Rison. Ms. Rison,
He's saying your name.
Sir,
have you ever used meth?
Has she ever used what?
Meth. Illegal drug.
Have you ever used illegal drugs?
no, sir.
You've never used marijuana.
Marijuana?
No, sir.
You've never used meth.
Meth?
No, sir.
So the reason that you were selling meth was to support your family and your children.
The reason you were selling it was to support
Yes,
your.
sir. But I know I can hold a job, I'm working at Popeye and I can make money in a better way of doing that. I mean, it's my first bent. I learned my lesson. I ain't going back down that road, no, sir. I want to keep my job, making real money at, at a workplace.
Thank you, Ms. Freeman.
No question.
Ms. Rison, would you like to make a closing statement?
Would you like to make a closing statement?
Yes, I just want to go home to my baby. And get my ear fixed. Cause my ear's been giving me trouble. I'm losing my hearing. So I need to go to actual, like a specialist. To my specialist I've been seeing since I was 5. So I don't know if I need surgery. I don't know, but I'm worried I'm losing my hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson,
Ms. Rison, you've only been in prison about 10 months. You're in work release, which is a good thing. You need to take some more programs and that will move your release date up. But for me, today is not the day. You haven't served enough time and you haven't taken enough programs. So my vote today is to deny.
Okay.
Mr. Freeman,
I concur with Ms. Jackson.
Ms. Rison, get with the proper officials at Concordia and try to enroll in another class or 2, and it will move up your good time date, and hopefully you can be home before Christmas, okay? But my vote is the same thing. I deny it based upon a lack of rehabilitative programs. You have a good day.
Yes, sir, y'all too.
That concludes our business at Concordia. Time is 12:39 p.m. Have a good day.
Well, I feel bad. It doesn't look like life has been easy or kind to her. And it can't be easy falling apart in that way, missing an entire eardrum. Wow. And, but, of course, she got caught up in a lie, which Miss Jackson just said, no, we're not having any of that. And then she got in the second lie, which was she's never done anything, which I don't know if the board was buying it and taking her word for it, or if they just didn't want to deal with it. They just felt like, And we'll do another hearing after this, doing that kind of experiment where we put multiple hearings back to back for these premieres. But I think it brings up a worthwhile question, at least for me, which is, do you give leniency to someone who, it was a full thing. It wasn't just the hearing impairment, but it was, like the presentation, her hair, kind of like the way she kept looking up at the corrections officer. It was like almost like a childlike. But I mean, you look the board in the eyes and you're like, I've never done meth. And it looks like she's been on meth for most of her life just by appearance, I know that's not, meth can make someone look that way just on a few months, but she's been assumingly sober and working and doing well there. Just, but the question is, do you give leniency? Because, it was nice. They said, well, we'll try to have you home before Christmas. Let's get you in some more programs. Certainly doesn't give the vibe of someone who's like wheeling and dealing this stuff, but they got her on that charge. That's interesting too. I mean, unless she's like a master manipulator and she's like, and if she is, then good for her, I guess. But it is interesting they got her on the dealing charges. I don't know. What do you think? We can jump into the next hearing. Let's do it.
My name is Vincent Dennis,
And your DOC,
541067.
thank you, Mr. Benson.
Well,
My Excuse me. My name is Alvin Roche. To my left is Mrs. Bonnie Jackson, and to my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. Let me explain the process to you. I will read some information into the record. We'll verify that information, and then we'll give Warden Smith a chance to make comments, tell us about any concerns or observations you might have. Then before we vote, we will allow you a 3 seconds to make a statement on your behalf. You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Benson, you are a third felony offender. Your offenses are aggravated obstruction of a highway, and you will be as an official offender. Possession of cocaine, you will bail as an habitual offender. Distribution of cocaine, and another count of distribution of cocaine. Sentence on August 22nd, 2013. Your supervision was revoked on December 17th, 2020, and June 27th, 2022. Your sentence, you received a 10-year sentence as a second felony offender. 4 years at DOC. And you will billed as an official second offender, 9 years, 7 months, 6 days, all concurrent. Your total sentence is 10 years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your parole date is June 13th, 2023. Your adjusted good time date, February 15th, 2030. And your full term date, December 12th, 2030. Is this information correct?
Yes, sir.
Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Bonnie Jackson. Would you please answer Mrs. Jackson's questions?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vincent.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
How are you?
I'm fine. And yourself?
Good, thank you. We just start off with some basic information. How old are you, Mr. Vincent?
I'm 33.
And how much time actually served on these charges?
On these charges, I've been down 29 months.
I had 23, but you said 29.
Yes, ma'am. 28, 29 months.
So why are you in jail? Tell me what happened. Why are you in jail?
One night, I was at a mixed club in Covington, Louisiana. It was called the Rock and Blues, and
Mhm.
I had gotten in an altercation with with someone, and they went and told the police, and I had already jumped in my vehicle, and the police had got behind me, and I never did stop.
That was the aggravated obstruction of a highway. That's
Yes.
the one you.
Yes, ma'am.
And well, what about the 2 counts of the 1 count of possession of cocaine and the 2 counts of distribution of cocaine?
The one count of possession, I was walking one late night, and I think it was the pandemic, and they had undercovers out, like in Durangos and Ram trucks, and I didn't know that was the police. And when I found out it was the police, I tried to run and threw something, and they found it and caught me.
Something was what?
The cocaine.
Well, what about the distribution counts?
the distribution counts was in, I think 2012 or 2013. I had sold to undercover.
So are you serving revocation time on those?
The 10 that I just received ate the parole time up.
Okay. So you're done with the cocaine charges and you're just serving on the ag obstruction, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Cause the 10 ate the 4 up too, on the possession that they gave me.
Oh, okay, all right. I never heard it put that way, but okay. So why were you involved in the use of drugs and in the selling of drugs? When
Because
did you start being involved in drugs?
following behind my auntie sons and growing up, looking up to them as role models and all that.
And how far did you go in school?
I went to the 9th grade.
And what happened in the 9th grade?
I was on juvenile probation and I was getting in trouble in high school, and they took me out of there and put me in something like a deformed school called North Shore Options.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there and got into something, got locked up, and went to Carville to a place called YCP for youth offenders.
The Youth Challenge Program.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you finish it?
No, ma'am.
No.
When I got there, like in 3 days, I saw a SARS beat a kid up, and I got spooked out thinking they was gonna do me that, and I ran away.
Have you ever had a job?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of jobs have you had?
I just had one a landscaping job with my father.
Okay, never had a job where you got a regular paycheck?
Only time I had a job like that was when I was in work release.
And what kind of job did you have in work release?
I was working in Lake Charles at a plant called PSC, Time Rebar.
Okay. And that was when you were in prison, when?
When I had the 15-year sentence.
How long ago was that?
In like 2014, 2015.
Mr. Vincent, what kind of programs have you taken since over the last 29 months?
Over the last months.
What kind of programs have you taken this time? I see you took risk management in 17, but then you took it again in 22. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You also did pre-release in 22 and anger management in 22. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, are those all of your programs?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you obtained a GED?
No, ma'am.
And on.
When I finished the last program in St. Tammany, they shipped me to a place called Caldwell. And when I got to Caldwell, I applied for it, but they put me in a class called Thinking for a Change. By then, I already had put a geographical transfer in, and they shipped me out the Thinking of a Change class and sent me to Hunt's. And Hunt sent me here, and I wrote for some stuff, but they say I'm on the waiting list.
Okay. And how long have you been where you are right now?
Since February 1st, I want to say.
Do you have any job skills?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
I could do the landscaping thing. I got the trash, like waste management thing.
Well, I mean, but you have, You don't have to have a lot of skill to work for waste management, you just have to be strong.
Right.
Really, you don't have to have a lot of skill to work for landscaping business. So you haven't had a chance to enroll any kind of programs in prison that would help you get a good job when you get on the outside?
Not on this Joe's now.
So what do you think you need? What do you think you need, Ms. to be successful? Think you need?
I think I need to let a lot of stuff go, like mature up, let the old friends go, try to help the environment I'm around, like the youth, start programs for them.
No. Can't start a program for anything. See, that's, everybody says that. How you gonna start a program? You can't just start a program.
Cause
That's just talk.
no, I'm into sports out there, and I'll be like coaching the youth. I got 8 nephews.
Okay. Well, I meant, what do you need to help yourself to be a better, I don't want to say a better person, but somebody who could actually take care of themselves, get a good job, and stay out of trouble? What do you think you personally to be able to do that?
I just need to change my environment.
Let's talk about your write-ups. You had a write-up 21 for, and a write-up in 22 for fighting.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, tell me about them and why you fight.
When I first came to jail, I was detoxing off drugs and aggravated, and I got in a couple altercations with a couple dudes that was going through the same type of pain I was going through on a detox.
Yeah, well, that was 21, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What about in 22, April 3rd of 22?
I got into it with a dude in the dorm behind, I think, a card game or something. And he like called me out my name, and it just went to another level after that.
So somebody called your name and you think fighting is the way to deal?
No, ma'am, it's not the way to deal with it.
All right, well, Warren, what can you tell us, if anything? I know I've been there that long.
No, he's only been here since February 6th. Like he said, he, as far as his education, we have tested him. He is on the wait list to get into some GED programming. It looks like he was participating in GED at Caldwell, I believe, and then he was shipped. So he was trying to pursue it. Other than that, I mean, he hasn't had any write-ups since he's been here, but that's about all I can tell you.
All right, Mr. Vincent, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Jackson. Mr. Freeman?
No, I don't have any.
Mr. Dennis,
Yes,
you
sir.
like to read closing statement?
Yes, sir. If you was to grant me the parole today and allow me to go back into society, I think I can make a big change in my life and help a lot of people, like old friends that need help, show them the way of trying to get on the right path, get help for them, and help the youth, my nephews, my family, my sisters, my mother and my father.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Is the panel ready?
Yes.
Mrs. Jackson?
All right, Mr. Vincent. I'm glad you're in the facility that you're in now because you can have access to programs. I'm concerned about you I don't think you have enough under your belt to be able to be successful. You have a moderate risk score, you have a high need score. You haven't taken a lot of programs that are gonna help you adjust to the outside. You had those write-ups for fighting in 21 and 22. Just you need some more work. Perhaps on the right track, but I think you have some more work to do. So our vote today was to deny. There's a risk score, the need score, need more program, and your recent disciplinary write-ups.
Thank you, Mrs. Jackson. Mr. Freeman.
Spencer, I think you need to show us the big change in yourself first before you get out there and help others. And I think you have the right that if you're serious to get what you need to get out, it's time you apply. But today, my vote is to deny.
Mr. Dennis, you received 2 votes to deny your request. I agree with the reasons given by my colleagues, so I'm also going to vote to deny your request. You have received 3 votes to deny. You have a good day.
You too.
We have another case?
No, that.
Okay, we have another case at Dixon, so we're gonna adjourn.
Last case that Dixon.
Is the last, okay, this is the only case we have at Dixon. And so I'm gonna stand adjourned and at 2:57. Thank you. You have a good evening.
Thank you.
Such a major contrast between our favorite warden at Dixon and this warden who I'm not really familiar with. I've seen her a few times, but there's a big difference. And I'm not saying anything to put her down. You know, everyone has different styles, and it could be she doesn't know the inmates as well as he does. I don't know how long she's been there and why we're not seeing him as often. But you know, usually he's I think he makes them feel a little more comfortable during the interview. But I don't know, this felt like kind of like the interview wasn't going anywhere before it even started. I thought it was a little unfair that Mr. Freeman said you have to work on yourself before you want to help others, because he did say that, you know, we do hear a lot of inmates that say, oh, I want to start this program and I want to, when I get out, I'm going to help all these people. And so I kind of liked what Miss Jackson said, like, oh, we hear this all the time, stop it. But then he said, no, I have nephews. I want to help them with sports. So if that's actually the case, what he meant, then, you know, I think that's a nice thing to want to do if you want to play sports with your nephews. And it's not like he wants to start programs and, you know, but imagine being there waiting for your parole hearing and get up there and it's just pretty much nope. You got to go do more programs and come back and hope for different results. We could do one more hearing. There's a short one that we can do before I let you go. Also, let me know what you think of this style of doing multiple hearings in one versus breaking them up one at a time, kind of experimenting with it. This is a short hearing, but I don't remember what it's about. I just remember it was short. So let's jump into it. To me, that depresses me the most when I see little kids, and you just remember, look at that, it looks like he spotted them too. I could not imagine being locked up and seeing my kids through a Zoom call and not being able to hold them.
The committee on parole is back in session. Time is 11:42 a.m. Our remote location is Claiborne Detention Center. With the staff at Claiborne, please introduce yourself.
Deputy Gross.
Thank you, Deputy Gross. With the offender, please give your full name and your Department of Corrections ID.
Derek Dwayne Franklin. 206, 106, no, 202, 106, 0024.
Your Louisiana Department of Corrections ID.
41, 92, 33.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin.
Yes, sir.
My name is Alvin Roche. To my left is Ms. Bonnie Jackson. To my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. You're here for a parole hearing. Let me explain the process to you. I will read some information to verify for the record. Once it's verified, we'll give the staff at Claiborne a chance to Claiborne, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We lost, okay, we got the video back. As we verify that information, we'll get the staff at Claiborne to make comments if they wish. Also at the hearing today is your mother, Miss Linda, and she's going to observe, and she's here for support, but she will not be speaking. At the very end, before we vote, we will allow you to make a statement on your behalf. Do you understand the process? Do you understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Franklin, you are a 5th felony offender. You're currently, what, 44 years old?
You're 44 years old. Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you having trouble hearing me?
A little bit.
Can we turn the volume up, officer?
Yeah, we have due to the weather, that's why we came home.
Okay, you have bad weather. Okay, all right. You're a 5th felony offender, and you currently 44 years old. Your offenses are in Webster Parish, distribution of marijuana. You were sentenced on February 7th, 2020, and when you were originally sentenced, you're originally sentenced on this charge in November of 2009, and you were revoked February 7th, 2020, and you are sentenced to the remainder of that sentence, which was 5 years, 11 days, and 11 months and 26 days. In 2020, you were convicted again of distribution of marijuana on May 18th, 2020, and you received a 6-year sentence. Another count of distribution of marijuana, sentenced on the same day in Webster Parish, May 18th, 2020. You have a 6-year sentence for that, which was running consecutive to the 6-year for the first count, and the 5 years and 11 months and 26 days remaining on the original sentence. Your total sentence 17 years, 11 months, and 26 days. Your parole date your parole date is September 1st, 2023. Your full-term date is August 26th. Your adjusted good time date, August 26th, 2024, and your full-term date, June 4th, 2034. A lot of information, but is all that information correct?
Yes, sir.
I can't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when were you paroled, Mr. Franklin?
Well, I paroled to?
I said, when were you paroled originally? You were sentenced in 2009, and when were you released on parole?
I think it was in 15.
2015, and you were released to the amended district, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you were back in jail in 2016. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you were released again to the amended district. You're back in jail in 2018.
Yes, sir.
And you were released again to the amended district and back in jail in 2020 when you got revoked.
Yes, sir.
So you're a revolving door. You're in and out of jail. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
You completed Blue Walters in 2013. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And it still didn't do any good. And you got arrested at least twice, maybe 3 times after that for distribution of marijuana. Is that correct?
Yes.
They sent you to the best program the state has to offer, Steve Hall Intensive Substance Abuse Program in 2021. And after 2 months, you got removed from the program. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So the state of Louisiana still didn't give up on you and it's enrolled you in Louisiana Risk Management, and you finished part 1 just recently. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you enrolled in part 2 right now?
Yes, sir.
When will you complete that program?
I don't quite know when. I think it's like a 8-week class.
So while incarcerated in 2020, you had a very serious intoxication problem while you were in transitional work program. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What was the substance that you were intoxicated on?
Synthetic.
Synthetic marijuana,
Yes, sir.
Mojo.
Yes, sir.
And you don't even know what Mojo has in it, do you?
No, sir.
But you smoked it anyways.
Sir.
Mr. Franklin, you're not ready. Not ready. You need to make up in your mind that you're going to complete the substance abuse program. Your good time date is about 15 months away. You need to complete Louisiana Risk Management. Then you need to write the OC and ask to be placed in a long-term substance abuse program. You're in a long-term battle with drug addiction. You need as much help as possible. And you need to get into a long-term substance abuse program. But based upon the proximity of your good time date, based upon a disciplinary write-up for intoxication, where you are in serious danger of losing your life because of that mojo. You've been revoked 3 times. You have expressed opposition from the judge in the DA's office. You're a 5th felony offender. You have an extensive criminal background. I have no other choice than to deny your request today, but I'll say that when we vote. Ms. Jackson, do you have any questions?
All right, Ms. Franklin, it takes some people longer than others to finally get on the right track. And you're not there yet. I agree with my colleagues. I don't have any questions.
Okay. Do you have a closing statement, Mr. Franklin?
Yes, sir.
So you realize that you're not ready and you need to take as many programs as possible. So when you are released next year, hopefully your problems will be solved, okay?
Yes, sir.
I've cast my vote, Ms. Jackson.
All right, I'm going to deny because of your poor supervision history, failure to complete DOC substance abuse treatment, and the proximity to your good time date.
Mr. Freeman,
I concur with Mr. Roger and Ms. Jackson.
Mr. Franklin, you have received 3 votes to deny your request. Have a good day.
Yes, sir.
What you gotta take?
I'm
That's
down.
right.
Good night. Okay, boy, that is our only case today. We appreciate you facilitating. We're going to stand adjourned at 11:54 a.m. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Behind every story, there's a family, mom and a son. He's getting out in a year, but it's obvious he's struggling. He's just struggling. He's struggling with addiction. Yeah. It's interesting, Mr. Roche, when he talks about, he lists all the things, all his revocations, all of his, and then he talks about, and the mojo, synthetic marijuana. You don't even know what's inside of it. It could kill you. I think the worst thing about the mojo, it's the name. One, ever being called synthetic marijuana is just, it's like a marketing stunt. How many people probably took it just because it was called synthetic marijuana? If it had a different name, it needs to be like rebranded. Mojo also doesn't sound dangerous. It needs to be called something else. Synthetic marijuana is totally misleading. It has nothing to do with marijuana. It's not synthetic marijuana. It's literally a cocktail of whatever it is someone has and make it smokable. I mean, I've heard it could be anything. Could be roach spray. could kill you. What's going to happen when he gets out in a year? What's going to happen? What's going to prevent him from not getting locked up again and going through the same brutal cycle? You know, I almost wish that they could have done something, but it seems that either they can't due to the proximity of date, or I don't know. I've seen them do different things for people. You would almost think like a work release would be something that would just be, we saw them do that once, just recently, I shouldn't say, more than once. You know, you put someone on work release, they hold a job, hopefully, they build a little nest egg, they build confidence, they set themselves up when they get out, they can then go maybe keep the same job. But you just say, okay, you know, wait till your release date. It's just kicking the ball down the road. What's he going to do when he gets out? We've seen this fast forward 20 years. You see someone who just looks tired and they say, I'm tired. And eventually they stop. But if you don't have the tools for success, how are you supposed to be successful? And I don't know the answer. I don't know, you know, someone could argue and say he got all the opportunities already, or someone could say he's just not qualified for any of those programs because of this, because of that. I don't really know the answer, but I'm just saying that how can we be surprised if he's back in here in a year or two? Anyways, please do the YouTube thing. It really helps the channel grow. As much of you know, there's not a lot of monetization on this channel due to YouTube's being stricter and stricter and stricter with their whole algorithm thing. So the likes and the comments help, and it helps share what our system looks like. It helps expose when certain things need to be exposed. I do this as a passion project, and I do it because of all of you. With that, I'll let you go.